it's exciting, getting ready for this deep dive into life's amazing secrets.
Oh, lots to unpack, right?
Absolutely. This book is just overflowing with these incredible stories, these life lessons.
Yeah.
And it just seems like you are so ready to find some balance and purpose in life.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this book so powerful.
Yes.
It's that it blends these kind of, timeless philosophies with modern psychology.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not just theory, right?
Right.
It's about actually putting these ideas into practice in your everyday life.
And it jumps right in. It's like, who hasn't been stuck in traffic and felt that,
Oh, tell me about it.
that frustration?
Yep.
And he uses that, Gaur Gopal Das. He uses that experience, that ordinary experience, and turns it into this profound analogy.
Yeah.
He compares our lives to a car.
Okay.
And those four wheels,
Yeah.
personal life, relationships, work life, and spirituality.
It's such a good analogy because, when you think about it, you need all four wheels working in harmony
Right.
to really move forward in life.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what he's getting at with the whole balance thing.
Yes.
It's not enough to just have one area of your life be like, firing on all cylinders while the others are flat tires, right?
Absolutely.
It's about finding that equilibrium.
So to kind of illustrate that need for balance, he talks about this encounter with a businessman.
Oh, yes.
Right. So picture this, okay?
So?
Successful businessman, fancy car, stuck in traffic next to Gaur Gopal Das.
Okay. Yeah.
You'd think this guy, he'd have it all figured out, right?
Right.
On top of the world, yeah.
But as they start talking,
Yeah.
it becomes clear that something is missing.
Right. And it's like he has the car,
Yes.
but he lost the keys to happiness.
And that's where gratitude comes in, right?
Yes.
Even when, like you said, it seems like everything on the surface is perfect.
It's so easy to get caught up in that, though.
Yeah.
In the pursuit of more always striving,
Right.
And we forget to just pause and appreciate what we do have.
Yeah.
And Daz makes this really interesting point in the book about, how much effort we put into looking successful
Oh, yeah.
that we forget to actually feel it.
Wow.
Right.
It's like we've mastered the outside,
Exactly.
but the inside is...
The inside is where the real work is.
That's where the gratitude comes in.
So it's not just about making a gratitude list and calling it a day.
Right.
There's a real technique to it.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to train your mind to focus on the positive.
Okay.
Just like you would, train a muscle at the gym, right?
Okay.
It takes effort. It takes consistency. And that's where the story of Radhanath Swami and the cumin seed comes in. Remember that one?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's the one where, even the tiniest annoyance can just consume your whole attention.
Exactly.
It's hilarious, but it's so true.
Oh, it's so relatable, right? Like, who hasn't been there? You get a tiny little cumin seed stuck in your teeth, and suddenly it's all you can think about.
It's like the end of the world.
Right. And Des uses this really clever analogy to explain this.
Yeah.
He compares it to our tongue and our mind. Just like your tongue, it's naturally drawn to a sore tooth.
Yeah.
Our minds tend to gravitate towards the negative.
Interesting.
Right. We fixate on what's wrong instead of appreciating what's good.
So it's like this natural negativity bias that we all have.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. So how do we rewire that? How do we start focusing on the good?
Well, this is where it gets really practical. And Duss introduces this concept of a gratitude log.
Okay.
And it's not just some fluffy, feel-good exercise.
Okay.
He presents it as a tool.
Right.
Almost like a mental workout to help you rewire your brain.
I like that.
Right. And it's all based on this really simple but powerful principle. Recognize, remember, reciprocate.
Recognize, remember, reciprocate.
Yeah. Okay.
3 simple words, but so much meaning packed into them. Yeah. So break that down for me. What does that look like in practice?
Okay. So first, you've got to actively recognize the good things in your life.
Okay.
Not just passively acknowledge them, but really take a moment to savor them.
Okay.
Then it's about remembering those good things. And that's where the gratitude log comes in, because writing them down helps solidify those positive memories.
Makes sense.
And finally, it's about reciprocating that goodness.
So it's not just about feeling grateful.
Right.
It's about taking that feeling and paying it forward.
Exactly.
Right about that.
Right.
Right.
And here's the thing, he emphasizes that this is an ongoing practice.
Right.
It's not a one-time fix.
Yeah.
You don't just wake up one day and suddenly you're a gratitude guru,
Right.
It's about showing up consistently.
It's like any skill.
Exactly.
The more you practice it, the
Yes.
stronger you become.
Yes, exactly.
And speaking of showing up, that brings us to that second wheel in the car analogy.
Okay.
Relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine gratitude plays a huge role there too, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Duss illustrates this with a story about a woman named Manasi
Okay.
who has this incredibly frustrating encounter at a temple.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like, you'd think a place of worship would be the last place you'd encounter this, but she encounters a volunteer who's just plain rude and unhelpful.
Wow. What's the lesson there? What can we learn from that experience? It's like you never know what someone else is going through, right?
Exactly.
Like everyone's got their own stuff.
We see the surface, but we have no idea what's going on beneath, right?
And Des uses that experience, like that story, to remind us to treat everyone with a little more sensitivity, yes.
Compassion,
yeah, absolutely.
even those who seem,
difficult
on the surface.
It makes you wonder too about, like, what about when we're the ones who have been wronged?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do we even begin to forgive when it feels so difficult?
It's so hard.
It is.
And Duss actually touches on this in the book, too, when he talks about Harry's struggles with forgiveness in his marriage.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's just, it's a common thread, right? This challenge of trying to navigate those hurts, those disappointments within a relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
And it reminded me of that scene where Gaur Gopal Das is stuck in traffic again, because who isn't, right?
Right, exactly.
And this time, the conversation kind of shifts to forgiveness.
Okay.
And he brings in this powerful story about Laxman from the epic Ramayana, known for his unwavering loyalty to his brother Rama and sister-in-law Sita.
Okay, so for those of us who need a little refresher, can you, recap that story? Why is this story significant when we're talking about forgiveness?
So Laxman, he faced these incredibly difficult choices, always putting the needs of his loved ones above his own.
Okay.
And what's fascinating is how Das uses this ancient story to shed light on a very relatable struggle.
Okay.
And it's how our own emotions, especially when we feel wronged,
Yeah.
can cloud our judgment.
Oh, it's so true.
Right.
It's like we get so caught up in being right or...
Sure. Or feeling hurt. That we
miss the bigger picture.
We miss the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, it's important to note here
Yeah.
that Das isn't saying we should excuse bad behavior.
Right.
It's not about letting people off the hook.
Right.
But it's about cultivating empathy.
Yeah.
Especially when it's tough.
Yeah.
It's about trying to understand the other person's perspective.
Okay.
To recognize that their actions might stem from their own pain or their own struggles.
It's about separating the person from their actions.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't mean what they did was okay.
Right.
But it means
understanding where they're coming from.
Yeah, having compassion for them as a human.
Exactly.
And to kind of, to help us navigate this often difficult path of forgiveness.
Right.
Das introduces these two key concepts.
Okay.
Separating the episode from the person, which we just talked about.
Yes.
And then forgiving for a higher purpose.
Okay, I like that. What does that mean, forgiving for a higher purpose?
It's about looking beyond the hurt.
Okay.
And focusing on the bigger picture,
Okay.
It's asking yourself, why is maintaining this relationship important to me?
Okay.
Is it about preserving family harmony?
Yeah.
Is it about, holding on to the good memories and the shared history?
Right.
It's about recognizing that forgiveness isn't about letting the other person off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment.
That's a really good way to reframe it.
Yeah.
It's not about them. It's about reclaiming your own peace.
Exactly. And Das is realistic about this.
Okay.
He acknowledges that true forgiveness takes time. It takes effort.
It's a process.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And he even shares his own personal anecdotes about times he struggled with forgiveness.
It's one thing to, talk about it,
right.
theoretically.
Right.
But to actually hear someone who, walks the walk.
Exactly.
Share their own struggles with it.
Yeah, it makes it feel more attainable.
It makes it feel more attainable.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
We're all human.
We're all human.
Navigating these messy emotions.
And speaking of navigating complex emotions, I'm thinking about that third wheel of life, work life.
Yes.
Harry, in the book, seemed to to really struggle with
Yeah.
finding his purpose in his career, which I think is something a lot of people can relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like we all want to feel like our work is meaningful.
We want it to matter.
Yes.
Right. We want to make a difference.
But finding that path isn't always easy.
It's not always linear.
No.
Right. Das actually tells the story about a young man named Siraj
Okay.
who he seemed to just know his calling from a very, very young age.
Okay.
But he acknowledges that for many of us, it's not that simple.
Right. And that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a process, you know?
It's a process of self-discovery.
Yes, exactly. Self-discovery. And speaking of self-discovery, Das introduces this Japanese concept called ikigai.
Okay, I've heard that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
So ikigai,
Yeah.
essentially it translates to a reason for being.
Okay.
Right. And it's about finding that sweet spot where four things intersect.
Okay.
What you love to do,
Okay.
what you're good at, what the world needs,
Okay.
and what you can be paid for.
It's like the Venn diagram of like purpose and passion and
practicality.
practicality. Yes.
Right.
How realistic is it to find that?
It's a great question.
Like for those of us who we might be stuck in jobs that they pay the bills, but they don't necessarily light us up.
Right.
Like how do we find that balance?
And Das acknowledges that, right? He acknowledges that not everyone has the privilege or the opportunity to just quit their job and pursue their passions full time.
Yeah.
But he offers this more grounded approach, I think.
Okay.
He says, love what you have to do.
Okay.
And do what you love.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
It's about finding that balance.
Finding that balance.
Even if it's not perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of balance,
Okay.
that brings us to that fourth wheel, that final wheel. Spirituality.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought about that story of the Ratha Yatra festival.
Yes.
The one where that man is just so humbly cleaning up after this massive celebration.
Yes.
And no one even asked him to do it.
It's a small act.
Right.
But it speaks volumes.
It does. It does. It really does.
And it really embodies, I think, the essence of Das's message about spirituality.
Okay.
It's not about these grand gestures, right?
Right.
Or these pronouncements that you make.
Right.
It's about embodying your values.
Yes.
In those smallest of actions.
Consistently. Yes, walking the walk.
Yes.
Not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
And I love how Das links this back to that principle of
Vichar.
yes, vichar. What is it?
Prachar.
Yes. Thought, action.
Inspiring others through your example.
Yes.
It's so powerful because, at the end of the day,
yeah.
our actions really do speak louder than words.
They do.
Right.
Yeah.
You can talk about integrity and compassion all day long,
Right.
but if your behavior doesn't align with those values, it's like a car with a missing wheel.
Well,
You're not going to get very far.
You're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
And it makes me think, too, about how those four wheels,
Yeah.
personal life, relationships, work life, spirituality.
They're all connected, right?
They are. They're not isolated.
Yeah.
They all influence each other.
And they all support each other.
Yes.
St. Das emphasized that, that this pursuit of balance,
Yeah.
it shouldn't stop at our own doorstep.
Okay.
It's not just about, our own personal happiness.
Right.
It's about finding that equilibrium between our needs and our responsibility to the world around us.
It's like we can get so focused on keeping our own wheels spinning, right?
Yes.
That we might miss those opportunities to kind of give back.
100%.
To make a difference.
Yes.
It's like we're so busy driving
Yeah.
that we forget to be a part of that bigger journey.
The bigger picture, yeah.
Yeah, and he uses this, I love this analogy.
Oh, tell me if you remember this one because I love it.
Yeah.
It's the ice cream and the candle.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Ice cream and candles, okay?
How do those connect?
Okay.
So picture an ice cream.
Okay.
Its whole purpose is to be enjoyed
Okay.
before it melts away.
Okay, right. Indulgence.
Indulgence, yes.
Okay.
Maximizing pleasure in the moment.
Right, okay, I see where you're going.
Okay. Now think about a candle.
Okay.
It also melts away,
It does.
but its purpose is to provide light for others.
Oh, wow.
It's about selflessness,
Okay.
about illuminating the world around it.
So are you saying we should all strive to be more like candles?
Well, it's not about one being better than the other.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
It's about finding that balance, right?
Okay, finding that balance.
Because Das suggests that,
Yeah.
true lasting happiness
Yes.
often comes from shifting our mindset
Okay.
from that of an ice cream to that of a candle.
So from focusing on our needs to giving back.
Exactly. Discovering the joy of serving others, of making a positive impact.
It's a powerful, powerful shift.
It is.
But I also think about, like, what about burnout?
Yes. Such a good point. Yeah.
If we're constantly giving, won't we eventually run out of steam?
And then Das talks about that, too. He
Yeah.
talks about compassion fatigue.
Right.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And he reminds us that to genuinely help others,
Yeah.
to be that source of light, we have to make sure our own wheels are balanced.
We have to take care of ourselves first.
Exactly.
Our own cups.
Yes. It's about being,
Selfishly.
selfless.
Yes, I love that. Selfishly selfless.
Right.
Yes.
Taking care of your own well-being so that you can actually show up for others.
It all comes back to that balance.
It all comes back to
Of
balance.
those four wheels.
All four wheels.
Personal life, relationships, work life, and spirituality.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation.
For everything.
And that's what I love so much about life's amazing secrets.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, being perfect
Right.
or having it all figured out.
Right.
It's about striving for that balance.
In the midst of the mess.
Yes. In the mess of life.
Life is messy.
It is.
And that's okay.
It is okay.
Embrace the mess.
This was such a great deep dive
Always a pleasure.
into life's amazing secrets.
Lots of wisdom to unpack.
Lots of wisdom. I mean, and we just scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah, just a glimpse.
Just a glimpse. For you listening, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Thinking about those four wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Which one could use a little more attention?
Yeah, where do you need a little more balance?
Where do you need a little more balance in your life right now?
That's the question.
That is the question.
And if you want to explore these ideas further,
Yes.
definitely grab a copy of Life's Amazing Secrets.
Keep the deep dive going.
Keep it going.
Until next time,
Until next time.
keep those wheels turning.